welcome to the 458 Speciale. Now, today I'm going to go over basically everything I like about the Speciale, and I suppose more specifically what I like about this Speciale. But yeah, let's just jump straight to it with the sound. Now, while the sound is great, it kind of only really comes into its own when you're going relatively hard and when it gets up the sort of full rev band. I mean, this thing revs to 9,000 RPM, which for a road car is insane. And so we're gonna rev it out to 9 and see how it sounds. This thing comes to life kind of above 5,500 revs, you know? So right now it's kind of about, we're sort of taking it easy at 5, and it's there, you can feel it. Bring it over 5. Oh, it's all in that top end, it's so good. So the sound, actually, I would say one of the biggest criticisms of the Speciale is that people actually don't think it sounds that great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a supercar and it sounds like a supercar, and it does, obviously by normal road standards, it sounds amazing. But compared to the standard 458, my previous 458, that thing, that used to pop and bang on the overrun, and I used to get kicked off tracks with that thing because it was so loud. Obviously, the Speciale is designed as a track car, so they have toned down the exterior sound a bit, and actually, because they've stripped out lots of the sound deadening in order to help save weight, it is actually louder inside. So anyway, it still sounds brilliant, and I have heard from people who have had it done that if you stick an exhaust on these things, they really come alive. So that might be the next project. We'll see, we'll see. But yeah, sound is awesome. Let's just check it out. Good wheel spin. Oh, it's visceral. I think the transition from sound would be to gear shifts. This thing explodes down. It's amazing. So they've managed to make, I don't know how they've done this, they've managed to make downshifts 40% faster than a standard 458 Italia. They obviously got in some kind of witch doctor, because if you drove a 458 Italia, it feels absolutely instant. This thing is just, God, they've really pumped it up a notch, and it's visceral, you know, it down changes with explosions behind it. We were, I'll tell you, downshift. Listen, I know there's a thing in the industry right now that we all miss manual gearboxes, and I do miss a good manual gearbox. When you get up this thing, when you're on, I mean, it doesn't just apply to the Speciale. You get in a really fast car with a fantastic dual clutch gearbox. They're a league of their own. They're just fabulous things. I think we'll just roll the sound and gear shifts into one. I'm just gonna give you some of this. Watch the down change, it's here. How do they do that? It's so good. And of course, the brakes are good too. Now, it's funny, it's a known thing that the brakes on the Speciale are the same brakes as on the La Ferrari, which is an incredible thing. But somebody pointed out something to me quite funny, which I've never really thought about it. If you reverse it, the La Ferrari has the brakes of the Speciale. I'd be a bit pissed off about that, you know? Anyway, needless to say, the brakes on this thing anchor on hard. big time. There is an option to spec full 4-point harnesses. And okay, on the road, major pain in the ass because you can barely reach your radio, and when you're on junctions, you can't sort of lean forward to see out. But on track, with the brakes being this good, sometimes I wish I did have them, because this thing sheds speed like you've just hit a wall. Just boom, you know, whacks you right down. It's very cool. Now, the aesthetics. This car looks so good. And again, you know, looks and aesthetics, they are subjective. But I'm telling you, the road presence this thing has. I notice a lot of the time when I pull up behind people, they just seem to get out of the way. And I'm not going fast. I just think when you look in the rear view mirror and you see this thing, it is like a fighter jet approaching you, and people just seem to get out of the way. It's great. You know, that stripe as well. So the knot stripe, some people like it, some people don't, but I think as time goes on, and as the sort of legend of the Speciale evolves, not having a stripe on this car is like not having a stripe on a 430 Skoda rear. It just looks weird, it just looks odd. And of course on the very front of the bonnet, it has this gorgeous fin, this like lovely crease down the very center of the bonnet, and that stripe just helps it pop and accentuates it. I'm going to try and demonstrate now a feature that not a lot of people know exists. There's an option where when you're driving fairly swift and you're braking down from a very high speed to a very low speed in a very short space of time, you can hold in the left-hand paddle, which is the downshift paddle, and it will optimize downshifts for you. So you can floor it, anchor on, hold in that downshift paddle, and it'll just explode down at the perfect time. Now, watch at the end of this, I'm just going to brake hard and hold in this down paddle here, and it's just going to downshift for me, alright? So, race mode, let's do this. Ready? We're going to brake. Down. You see that? It just explodes down for you. Again, I mean, I don't know when you would use that feature. It's just really cool. And yeah, again, you know, something that a lot of people don't know about, and I thought I'd highlight it. So the interior of this car as well, I love. Now, I was very, very fortunate to be able to buy one of these cars from new, order it from factory, and spec it exactly as I like. And of course, again, aesthetics are all subjective, but this is my baby, and the way it's turned out for me has just been a dream. Just to highlight some of the, I guess, more personal touches, in the interior of the whole car, you can obviously see the theme is yellow and black. It's contrast stitching, and I've begun to refer to the seats as wasp seats for obvious reasons. But I opted to remove the contrast stitching from the dashboard. The reason for that is when the sun shines on the dashboard of this car, when you have contrast stitching on the dash, it reflects in the window like spaghetti, and it's really annoying. I know that's a proper first world problem, but you know, when you've got the option to sort it out, why not? Now, I'm sure you've probably guessed from my previous clips that I really love carbon fiber. If you can give me something in carbon fiber, just put it on the car. And this car, fortunately, from standard, comes with so much of it. The entire door, other than this sort of little top lip here, the entire door is carbon fiber, and it just looks so awesome. And you know, there's other areas on this car which is smattered with it. I particularly like this stalk which protrudes from this central console here. There's no denying it looks awesome. I mean, when was the last time you've seen some sculpture like that in a car. It's literally growing out of the console there. The engine bay, I opted for extra carbon in the engine, and okay, it's not something you sort of stare at often, but on the occasions you do open that lid, it's just a symphony of carbon. It looks so cool, and it's all up the sides and all on the top of the engine, and I just think it's sort of these small touches add up to a special experience in this car. What adds to it, certainly in your subconscious, is that when you're driving this thing, you're aware that this is the last of the greats. It's the last naturally aspirated V8 Ferrari that's ever going to be made, and on the one hand that's really sad. The feeling this engine gives you, the throttle response this engine gives you is phenomenal. It's such a visceral experience. Just to know that they're not going to be making any more of these is a little bit sad. But on the other hand, knowing that this is the last of the greats gives you such a humbling feeling that you're owning such a special piece of car history. I think it's up to me to look after this car and drive it and enjoy it, knowing that someday we're going to look back on this and be like, God, do you remember when they made cars like this, you know? Yeah, it's a pretty special piece of kit.